Howdy, folks. Thanks for watching my channel today. My name's Don, and my channel is all about bass fishing, specifically bass fishing over the age of 70. Today, I want to talk about the history of the plastic worm. A lot of folks think the plastic worm's been around forever, and I got news for you, it hasn't. Back when I was a kid, when I first started fishing, I don't even remember using a plastic worm. Uh, it wasn't probably until I was in my teenage years that they became a little more common and I started using them for the first time. But they were actually, the plastic worm was created in Akron, Ohio, which is in some ways a little bit ironic because that's my birthplace. That's where I was born, and that's where I spent the first maybe 12, 13 years of my life. Uh, but it was actually created by a guy uh, who, by all standards today, was just a fisherman who got tired of digging up, you know, worms to go fishing. But he, suppose as the story goes, he was out in his backyard and he was digging up earthworms to go fishing that day, and the idea struck him that why couldn't he just make a plastic worm? Why couldn't he, make a worm, preferably out of plastic? But why couldn't he just make a worm, and then he wouldn't have to dig them up every time? Surely the fish wouldn't be able to tell the difference if he could create something close to it. And so immediately he sat down and he started playing around with different substances, thinking that he could create, you know, some type of an imitation worm. Well, for those of you that don't know this, Akron, Ohio was also the rubber capital of the world. And back in the late 50s, early 60s, we had, Firestone, Goodyear, Uniroyal, BF Goodrich, all the big rubber companies that made tires for passenger cars. Well, almost all of them were headquartered right there in Akron. And so rubber was pretty much available. And Nick Crème, who was the guy that was digging up these worms, he decided he was going to make a worm out of rubber. He was going to make a rubber worm. And so he tried a number of different types of rubber and just couldn't get the mix to be just right. In most cases, whatever he created was rigid, it was hard, you couldn't get a hook into it. It didn't look natural when it was in the water, couldn't really get the colors that he wanted. And he kept trying and trying. And then after a number of different attempts, he decided to try a new material. And that new material was a derivative of rubber, but it was called plastic. And he played around with plastic, made a few molds, made a few worms out of plastic. And the next thing you know, he invented the modern day fishing worm. And to this day, we call them plastic worms. They're not rubber worms; they're plastic worms. And it's funny because when you pick one up and you kind of roll it around in your fingers, it feels like rubber to me, but they truly are made out of plastic. And his first worms actually were sold in a package and were pre-rigged with 3 hooks in them and a spinner at the top and a little bead. And some were designed to be weedless, others weren't. And that was his introduction to the plastic worm. From there, he actually ended up moving his factory from Akron, Ohio to Tyler, Texas. And while he was in Texas is when he really exploded the company. people realized just how effective a plastic worm could be. And he went on to create a multitude of different types of plastic worms, different sizes, different shapes, and different colors. That soon his name just became synonymous with the plastic worms. So now you know where they came from. They came from the Buckeye State. Uh, like all great things that came out of Ohio, uh, Nick Crème made them, and they were called Crème plastic worms, CREME, and they date back about 70 years. So that's kind of the history of the plastic worm. You know, it's evolved in so many different directions. It would take more time than I have to talk about all the different creations that have been spawned from those original plastic worms that Nick made 65, 70 years ago. But suffice it to say, it's still one of the most popular fishing lures that has ever been created. And it's probably accounted for more fish than any other lure, hands down. So if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. I'd like to see you subscribe to my channel. And if you have any comments on plastic worms, maybe the first time you used one, you know, please leave your comments in the section below. I try to get back to everybody that leaves a comment, and I appreciate your taking the time. So have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.